Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's lesson, we are diving into a topic that's essential for mastering English. That is the prepositions of motion. These tiny words can make a big difference in your fluency and comprehension. So let's get moving. First, let's define what prepositions of motion are. These are words that describe movement from one place to another. These prepositions help us understand the direction and path of movement. So common examples include to and from, into, out of, up, down, through, across, over. Let's look at these in more details. The first one is to and from. Starting with to and from, to indicates movement towards a destination, whereas from indicates the starting point of the movement. Let's take an example of preposition to. First one is she is going to the store. In this sentence, to indicates the direction of the movement. The direction of movement of a person. The person is moving towards a specific place, which is store. So to indicates the person is moving towards store. Next example, she is flying to New York. Here also to shows us the direction of the movement. It tells us that she is moving toward New York. So whenever a subject is moving toward a specific place, we use the preposition to. Next is from. From indicates the starting point of the movement. First example, she came from the park. Here the preposition from indicates the point of origin or the starting point of her movement. It tells us where she started her journey or where she was located before arriving at her current location. And another example, he just returned from Paris. He just returned from Paris. The preposition from indicates the location where he was before coming back. It means it describes the place of origin. It specifies Paris as the place from which he recently arrived or traveled back from. So, to focuses on the destinations, while from emphasizes the origin. This distinction is crucial in providing clarity in communication. Next one is into and out of. Into is used when something moves from outside to a place inside, whereas out of is used when something moves from inside to a place outside. Let's discuss into. Into when something moves from outside to a place inside. For example, the cat jumped into the box. Here the preposition into indicates the direction of movement towards the inside of a box. It shows that the cat moved from outside the box to inside the box by jumping. Let's see another example. She poured water into the glass. Here the into indicates the direction of movement towards the inside of the glass. It specifies that water was moved from a source, such as a pitcher or faucet, and directed into the interior of the glass. Whereas out of is used when something moves from inside to a place outside. For example, the water spilled out of the glass. Here the preposition out of indicates the direction of movement from inside to outside. It specifies that water, which was originally contained within the glass, overflowed or escaped and moved outward from the glass. Another example is the cream squeezed out of the tube. Here the preposition out of indicates the direction of movement from inside to outside. It specifies that the cream which was inside the tube was pressed or squeezed in a manner that caused it to emerge and move outward from the tube. So understanding into and out of helps in describing movements that involve entering and exiting spaces, which is especially useful in daily conversations. Next one is the up and down. Up and down, these prepositions describe movement of higher or lower positions. First is up. He climbed up the ladder. Here the preposition up indicates the direction of movement from a lower position to a higher position. It specifies that the person ascended or moved vertically along the ladder, starting from lower point and progressing upward. Another example is she walked up the hill. Here, up indicates the direction of movement from a lower position to a higher position. It specifies that the person moved vertically along the slope of the hill, starting from a lower point at the base and progressing upward towards the top of the hill. And down shows the movement to a lower place. For example, she walked down the hill. Here down indicates the direction of movement from a higher position to a lower position. It specifies that the person descended or moved vertically along the slope of the hill, starting from a higher point near the top and progressing downward toward the base of the hill. Another example is he slid down the slide. Here also down indicates the direction of movement from higher position to the lower position. It specifies that the person moved vertically along the slide, starting from higher point and sliding downward toward the bottom or end of the slide. So up and down are essential for describing vertical movements, whether it is physically moving up or down, an incline, or metaphorically describing increases or decreases. Next is through, over, and across. Through means moving in one side and out the other side of something. Over indicates movement above something without touching it. And across indicates movement from one side to another side of something, usually a flat surface. First is through. Through means moving in one side and out the other side of something. For example, he walked through the forest. This means the preposition through indicates the movement from one side or boundary of the forest to the other side. It describes how the person traversed the forest by moving from the entry point on one side to the exit point on the opposite side, passing through the dense forest and trees that characterized the environment. Next example, he looked through the binoculars. Here the preposition through indicates the manner in which he used the binoculars. Specifically, it describes that he used the binoculars to look at something by peering through the lenses. It implies that he looked through the lenses of binoculars to observe and possibly magnify objects or scenes that are at a distance. Next one is over. Over indicates movement above something without touching it. For example, the bird flew over the tree. Here the preposition over indicates the path or trajectory of the bird's flight relative to the tree. It describes how the bird moved in a position above and beyond the tree's height, suggesting that the bird's flight path extended vertically above the tree as it passed from one side to the other. Another example is he jumped over the fence. Here also over indicates the manner in which he performed the action of jumping. It describes he leaped in a way that took him from one side of the fence to the opposite side without touching or coming into contact with the fence itself during the leap. And the last one is across. It indicates movement from one side to the other side of something, usually a flat surface. For example, he walked across the bridge. Here across indicates the movement from one side of the bridge to the other side. It describes how we traversed the bridge while walking from the starting point on one side to the destination on the opposite side, covering the entire span of the bridge in the process. Another example is he swam across the river. Here the preposition across indicates the movement from one side of the river to the other side. It describes how he navigated through the water while swimming from the starting point on one bank of the river to the destination on the opposite bank, covering the width of the river in the process. So understanding through, over and across helps in describing different paths of movements, whether it is moving inside a space, above it or across it. Next is practice sentences.